Thank you so much for joining me once again. It's the Jessica Brima channel, and it's breaking news, really. The Supreme Court of Nigeria have suspended the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with that singular judgment that says that the president does not need to win 24% of the vote cast in Abuja for him to be president of Nigeria. You know, what this ruling has done is just set aside the constitution, because it's clearly stated in the constitution that for you to be president of Nigeria, you must win 25% of the vote cast in the Federal Capital Territory. It's there. It's there. And now they've said it doesn't matter anymore. So what the Supreme Court is saying is we are now formally in a military dictatorship with a civilian in charge. Because what it means is that you don't need to follow the law. You just do as you like. Reminds me of that place in, I think it's Judges chapter 21, verse 25, that says there was a time in Israel when there was no king. Everybody did as they liked. Right now, Nigeria is completely lawless. There's no rule of law. There's no justice. What it means is that you just do whatever you like. I have been saying this. I said, how can a country's military just sit back and watch a ragtag army, they say Fulani headsmen, slaughtering people through the land? Slaughtering people in some states now, Benue State, Imo State, Ebonyi State, you can't go to the farm. You just cannot go to the farm. At a time that famine has set in, at a time that people are hungry, the average Nigerian woman who is not educated, or probably educated but has no job, all they have is their farm. At least you go to the farm, you harvest your crops, the excess you have, you sell them to use to pay your children's school fees, and that's how they roll. Now they can't go to the farm. So I had been wondering, how is it possible that the military will be there, the police, everybody will just be helpless, as the ragtag army of Fulani herdsmen, jihadists, that were imported by the previous government into the country, will just be slaughtering their way and nothing happens to them? I've been wondering. It's just not what the Supreme Court has done, just explains everything, that as far as Nigeria is concerned, there's no rule of law anymore. There's no justice. Anybody can just do what you like. Just do what you like. You get away with it. You can slaughter as many girlfriends as you like in the university. You can go and rape women in female hostels in the university. You can just use your girlfriend for Yahoo, whatever. You do what you like, whatever you like, and nothing happens. So evil keeps multiplying. Criminals are in government. Did you hear the story the other time that a whole number of criminals were just, taken, they're enlisted in the Nigerian police force? And they say, why would you just enlist these known criminals into the police force? Say, oh, they have changed, they repented. So when you hear that policemen in Nigeria are robbing banks, they are killing people on the road, robbing them of their hard-earned money, taking people to ATMs, to their bank with their ATM card and forcing them to withdraw money. When you hear that policemen are doing that, you know that it is because they are criminals that have been enlisted in the Nigerian police force. There's no more check of, before you get a job, we need to do criminal check on you to know whether you're a criminal. No. In fact, if you're a criminal, you're more qualified now to be in the Nigerian police force. And then for the Nigerian military, for you to be in the military, you must be a known Boko Haram terrorist for you to be enlisted in the Nigerian military. And then the president is sitting there. All he's spending his time doing is to tell us that the criminal records he had in America, they don't matter anymore. To tell us that the certificate forgery doesn't matter anymore. Do you know that the Supreme Court have legalized forgery with this singular ruling that, yes, Ahmed Tinubu is the president of Nigeria? They have legalized forgery. They said the certificate forgery does not matter at all. So Nigerians go ahead and forge certificates. And of course, you know what that means. When Nigerians get admissions abroad, they'll be thoroughly scrutinized to be sure that the certificate they are submitting is real. Nobody knows what is real anymore and what is not real. The Supreme Court of Nigeria have just said it is legal, it is proper, it is acceptable for you to be engaged in violent election rigging. They have said that the fact that INEC actually rolled out their guidelines the guidelines we're going to use to conduct the election, that those guidelines they rolled out day in, day out, assuring Nigerians that this is the guidelines they're going to use to make sure that the election is not rigged. The fact that they refuse to adhere to their own guidelines, the Supreme Court said it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So when you give somebody your word, you're not supposed to keep your word. If you don't keep your word, the Supreme Court of Nigeria is saying that it doesn't matter if you don't keep your word. It wasn't just verbal. It wasn't just oral. It was clearly written. The INEC chief kept rehearsing the written thing every day in press conferences, international press conferences, assuring Nigerians that these are the guidelines we're going to follow. Every result must be transmitted through IREF. Nigeria spent billions of naira setting up the whole IREF system, or whatever they call it, that everything will be transferred from the polling unit in real time. So the Supreme Court said that it doesn't matter, that the INEC chief was not under any obligation to Nigerians to keep their word. That's what these Supreme Court people are telling us. You just look at yourself, they say age comes with wisdom, but you ask yourself, where is the wisdom of the aged now? Because when you look at all those Supreme Court men, they are old men. They are old men allowing themselves to be manipulated and hoodwinked into giving such a ruling. When people started the rumor about, that the government, the present APC government, was now going to those who looted funds in the previous government, and those people were quietly returning some millions, hundreds of millions of dollars that they looted, and that the present government was now relooting it to use it to pay bribes to the Supreme Court. When I heard, I just said, no, I can't. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody do that? But with what is happening now, I can't afford to doubt anyone that comes with whatever story. All the things we used to hear as rumors are now coming out gradually. You saw how the presidential appeal, what do you call it? Those appeal court judges in the Presidential Election Tribunal, how they read out the judgment. The person reading out that judgment, you just know. It doesn't take, you don't need to even be a professor to know that the person reading out that judgment does not know the content of that judgment. That person had no hand in the writing of that judgment. And we had heard previously that it was Fashola, who is the senior advocate of Nigeria, and the Tinubu's board, that he was one that wrote that judgment, and people were like, let's wait and see. They were reading out a judgment. It was so incoherent. It wasn't flowing. It didn't even make sense at the time. And you ask yourself, so are you sure you're the one that wrote this judgment you're reading? It's becoming as clear as daylight. As clear as daylight that this government that is not interested in security, in securing the lives of citizens, is not interested in the welfare of citizens, have just come to use dictatorship once again to stifle all opposition, to loot the economy and its business as usual. And you ask yourself, Nigeria has been on a downward spiral long time ago, but this time Nigeria is really in the gutter, completely in the gutter. If Supreme Court judges could open their mouth to set aside the Constitution, could open their mouth to legalize certificate forgery, could open their mouth to legalize the INEC corruption, the INEC bribery and corruption, everything they did to declare Tinubu winner. The violence these APC people meted out, the violence, the killings, they meted out. And the fact that 18,000 polling units, 18,000 wards. Under the wards, there are many polling units. The presidential result of 18,000 wards was not declared by INEC. They didn't declare it because it didn't favor their candidate. They knew that they declared it, it would go the other way. All the things they did using TPEX to TPEX things and rewrite, everything is out there in black and white. So the Supreme Court is saying that all these things don't matter at all. They are saying that criminality is the way to go. Drug business is welcomed. Just bring the money and give to us, and it shall be well with you. There's nothing spoiled at all, as they say in Nigerian parlance. Nothing spoiled at all. Nothing spoiled. The Supreme Court of Nigeria have just ended up enthroning lawlessness, complete lawlessness and injustice. That's what they have done. So All the killers that are killing people, just go ahead and kill. As long as you have money to bribe judges to say, oh, you didn't do it again. Oh, never mind. That's all you need. Just make sure you loot enough funds that you can use to bribe, especially in foreign currency. Yes, that's the way to go. That's what the Supreme Court of Nigeria are telling us. Somebody I respect so much sent me one of these WhatsApp messages about how we should pray for the economy of Nigeria, for God to restore the economy of Nigeria, and for Naira, the value of the Naira to be restored. And I looked at it and I said, I respect this dear sister that sent me this thing. But you see, what the economy of Nigeria needs at this time is not prayer. No country prays better than Nigerians. All the GOs will be telling you to fast and pray, and everybody 100-day fasting, 200-day fasting, 30-day fasting, 3-day dry fasting. We have been doing that, but after doing that, the criminality is on the increase, because from judges to the uneducated and the literate, the educated, the senior advocate, the learned colleagues, everybody accepts criminality. Everybody accepts criminality. It's okay to be a criminal while you're still praying and fasting. It's okay to loot public funds while you're still praying and fasting. That's not God. This Bible that I have, that's not what the Bible says. So rather than pray for the economy, what we should start for the economy, what we should say that every python, every snake swallowing the wealth of Nigerians, vomit it and die in the name of Jesus Christ. That's the kind of prayer we should be praying. Oh God, arise and dethrone wicked powers that ruling over Nigeria. Dethrone them, oh God, by your own power. That's what we should be praying about. Praying for Nigeria economy to improve and rogues are there looting it, it won't work. Praying for Nigeria economy to improve when God has given us oil, natural resource oil that nations like Iran have used to make billions. Do you know how many billions, hundreds of billions Iran have made from oil sale in recent years? There was an embargo on them before, but it was lifted by Joe Biden administration. Since Joe Biden, do you know how many billions they've made from oil sale? We have oil there. The people in power are selling it and pocketing the money, and they're not putting the money into the coffers of the economy. And you're telling me to pray for the economy? That kind of prayer will not work. That will not work at all. God has given us what we can use to improve our economy. We decide not to use it. It's not God's fault. Praying for the economy of Nigeria is like somebody, either a man or a woman who has terrible character flaws, who is absolutely very intolerant and devoid of incapable of giving love and receiving love. For such a person to be praying, God, please give me a good wife, God, give me a good husband, God, give me, it won't work. Because even when you get the good husband or good wife, you use your hand to destroy the relationship. It will not last. That's what it's like. How can we be praying economy of Nigeria to improve, and then what happens? We put criminals in power. We put rogues in power. We put people who have no sense of justice, no sympathy, no human compassion. Do you know that the innocent blood flowing daily in Nigeria is enough curse on the economy of Nigeria? Is enough curse on the nation, because blood, innocent blood, defiles a land and it cries out for justice. It cries out for vengeance. That's what innocent blood does. So when that vengeance comes upon a nation, it affects everyone. It affects everyone, really. So you'll be saying, oh, the president is my man. It's his turn to rule. I wish you well. I hope you'll be ready for the consequences, because every action or inaction, they've got consequences. I hope you're ready for the consequences, because the consequences will come, my darling. They will certainly come. You do whatever you like, the consequences will come. You behave anyhow you like, the consequences will come. That's why the Bible says that take away the wicked from amongst the king. Take away the wicked from before the king, and the throne will be established in righteousness. The throne of Nigeria is not established in righteousness at all. The wicked are in high places, punishing the poor. They are looting. They are living in comfort. They are living in opulence. Meanwhile, the poor are suffering. They wouldn't even at least give them security so that people can go to their farms and farm and get their farm produce and eat. You dare not go, because they release the militants, the killers, to go to bushes and kill people. They rape women. If you're pregnant, they open up your womb and slaughter the baby in the womb. They just do all manner of unprintable things. They behead people. Things you hear that can happen maybe in ISIS enclave. That's what they're doing in Nigeria at the moment. And the leaders are saying there's nothing they can do about it. They have a budget for defense. The military are there. They were ready to go to Niger Republic to go and fight to set the country free. But they cannot fight the militants, the jihadists, the terrorists in Nigeria. I said to people, do you know that they're still killing people in Benue State every day? People in tens and hundreds. I said, do you know they just killed how many? Almost 100 in Kaduna the other day. They might look like, what's wrong with you? That's the order of the day in Nigeria. It's bandits now. What do you mean it's bandits now? What's the meaning of that? It's bandits now. That's what's going on in Nigeria now. It's bandits. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Innocent blood have been shed like that. The streets of Nigeria are flowing with innocent blood. If only we knew the consequences of this kind of killings, this flowing of innocent blood in Nigeria. If we understood the consequences, we will not take it lightly. And excuse me, I'm so shocked that ministers of the gospel, Christians that should have an understanding of the consequences of shedding innocent blood, that should have they just, everybody just, how do they put it? Just shake it off. They're not bothered, I'm like, maybe I'm losing my mind to be so bothered about what is going on. Am I losing my mind? Am I okay? What is going on? Why is it people are not bothered at all? It's terrible. It's really terrible. My brothers and sisters, I don't know where. I'm praying that God will keep all of us alive to live and see the end of it all, because I know the vengeance of God is real. The divine judgment of God is real, and no one will escape it. As long as you're a human being on this earth, you will not escape it. Him that wants to do good, continue doing good. He that wants to do evil, continue doing evil. For the judgment of God will certainly come. I'll leave it there for now. This is the Jessica Brimer channel. Just give me a thumbs up. Click the thumbs up and share. Please share this video. Let the world know that the Supreme Court of Nigeria have suspended the Constitution. They say it doesn't matter. We have a civilian president according to them, but what is going on is military dictatorship. People who talk, people who hold power to account are being locked up daily. They're being locked up. So many people wallowing in police cells, in prisons. For what? For speaking up against evil. Thank you so much. God bless you.